Have you ever realized the battle was over, but you never even noticed you'd won? That's right. You might have already defeated a narcissist in your life without even realizing it, and that changes everything. Because the signs are subtle, invisible to the untrained eye, yet when they show up, they prove you're free, stronger, and finally in control. Today, I'm going to reveal the 7 unmistakable signs that you've triumphed, even if your mind hasn't caught up yet. Imagine waking up without that heavy weight on your chest. No more second guessing, no more emotional chaos. You think about the narcissist, and instead of pain or confusion, you feel calm. This is freedom, and it's yours. But how do you know you're really there? How do you recognize victory when the battle feels invisible? That's what we're about to uncover. Before we dive deeper, if you're ready to reclaim your power and put an end to toxic control once and for all, drop a yes in the comments below, because this message is for you. One of the most profound signs that you have defeated a narcissist, often without even realizing it, is that you no longer seek their approval or validation. This shift may seem small on the surface, but it is a fundamental transformation of your inner world. For years, narcissists wield approval like a weapon, a currency to control, manipulate, and keep you tethered to their demands and illusions. They create a cycle where your sense of worth becomes entangled with their opinions, their recognition, or even their grudging acceptance. This emotional leash is one of the most invisible yet strongest chains. When you finally stop seeking their approval, it means you have reclaimed the power over your own self-esteem. This is no small feat, because narcissists are masters at conditioning you to doubt yourself. They twist your perceptions and make you question your reality. Their approval feels like a prize, something you have to earn, and their rejection can feel like a personal failure. But once you reach the point where their validation no longer matters, it's a sign that the mental grip they held on you has loosened. You no longer measure your value by their distorted standards, nor do you hunger for their fleeting praise. This detachment does not happen overnight. It's a quiet revolution inside your mind. You begin to see clearly that their words are often hollow, their approval conditional, and their praise insincere or manipulative. The emotional power they once had over you fades as you recognize that their approval was never truly about you. It was about their control, their ego, and their need to feel superior. Understanding this truth is liberating because it flips the script. Instead of bending your thoughts and feelings to fit their narrative, you start creating your own. In the past, you might have found yourself walking on eggshells, crafting your actions and words to please the narcissist, hoping for a nod or a smile, or to avoid their wrath. You might have replayed conversations in your mind, searching for ways to fix things or to regain their favor. This constant mental effort drains your energy and keeps you stuck in their emotional maze. But once you stop seeking their validation, you're no longer trapped in this exhausting cycle. You free yourself from the burden of their judgment and step into a space where your approval comes from within. This change also reflects a deeper healing of your self-worth. The narcissist's approval was a counterfeit currency. It might have looked valuable, but it was always fake, unstable, and designed to keep you dependent. Now, your sense of value is rooted in your own truth, your own principles, and your own achievements. You recognize your strengths and your flaws without needing an external voice to confirm them. You don't have to explain or justify yourself to them anymore, because you understand that your worth is inherent, not something to be negotiated. At this stage, your mindset shifts profoundly. You stop fearing their disapproval or rejection because you realize it doesn't define you. Their attempts to manipulate your emotions with praise or criticism lose their power. This means that when they try to provoke you or draw you back into their toxic patterns, you stay grounded. You respond from a place of confidence and clarity, rather than desperation or neediness. This emotional independence is a clear sign that you have won the internal battle. Moreover, not seeking their approval also means you begin to attract healthier relationships. People who are genuine and supportive do not demand your approval or feed off your insecurities. Your refusal to rely on a narcissist's validation signals to others that you value yourself and set boundaries. This creates space for connections based on respect and mutual care instead of control and manipulation. In essence, the day you no longer crave the approval of a narcissist is the day you start living your own life fully. You take your power back quietly but decisively. This is victory, subtle, internal, but absolutely unshakable. It means you've learned to love yourself without conditions, and nothing can take that away from you. It is not just defeat of the narcissist, it is triumph of your spirit, your freedom, and your future. When you realize that your peace of mind has returned, even when you think of the narcissist, it is a powerful and undeniable sign that you have defeated them without even knowing it. Peace of mind is not just a fleeting feeling, it's the quiet center of your being, where fear, anxiety, and chaos no longer hold sway. For so long, narcissists have a way of infiltrating your thoughts like an unwelcome storm, stirring up confusion, doubt, and emotional turmoil. Their presence in your life, or even just the memory of them, used to trigger a flood of negative emotions, anger, sadness, frustration, or even self-blame. But the moment your mind no longer reacts with turbulence at their mention, you have stepped into a new realm of freedom. Think back to how it used to be. A simple reminder of the narcissist, perhaps their name, a place you once shared, or a phrase they used, could send your emotions spinning out of control. You might have found yourself replaying painful conversations, questioning what went wrong, or obsessing over what you could have done differently. The mental and emotional drain was exhausting. You were trapped in a cycle where the narcissist's influence felt endless and invasive, even when they were not physically present. This constant storm of anxiety and emotional upheaval is one of the cruelest ways narcissists keep their hold on you. But when peace returns, it means something has shifted deep within you. That storm quiets, and you no longer involuntarily react with pain or distress. You can think about the narcissist without feeling your heart race, your stomach knot, or your mind spiral. This calm is not a sign of weakness or denial. Rather, it is a sign of immense strength and healing. Your emotional system has reset. You are no longer captive to the narcissist's toxic energy. You have reclaimed the space inside your mind where you can simply be, without their interference. This peace of mind is a signal that the emotional manipulation and chaos they thrived on no longer have a home within you. Narcissists feed on drama and discord. They need emotional reactions to maintain control. When you respond with calm instead of chaos, you starve them of the fuel they need. This is a subtle but devastating defeat for them. You stop giving them the power to unsettle you. You regain control over your emotional landscape. More importantly, this piece is a reflection of your self-awareness and emotional boundaries. It means you've learned to separate yourself from their toxic behavior and not absorb it as your own emotional baggage. Where once their words and actions dictated how you felt, now you maintain a protective distance. You have built an internal shield, an emotional fortress, that protects your serenity from their attacks. This shield is not about avoidance or suppression, but about mastering your reactions and choosing how much power you give to external forces. Returning peace of mind also means your energy is freed for positive growth. Without the constant storm of anxiety and turmoil, you can focus on rebuilding yourself, pursuing your goals, and nurturing healthy relationships. Your mental clarity increases, allowing you to make decisions based on your true needs and desires rather than on fear or confusion. You gain a sense of stability and resilience that no longer wavers under the narcissist's influence. At times, you might even catch yourself surprised at how little emotional weight the narcissist's memory carries. This surprise is actually a sign of deep transformation. The part of you that once felt wounded and reactive has healed enough to observe without pain. The memories might still exist, but they no longer hold the power to disrupt your inner peace. You've integrated those experiences without letting them define your emotional state. This peace of mind is a quiet victory, not flashy or loud, but profoundly significant. It's the moment when the narcissist's grip loosens so thoroughly that you stop feeling trapped inside their drama. Instead, you find yourself living in a space where calm and clarity are your default states. It's a sign you've moved beyond survival mode and into thriving mode. The narcissist no longer controls your emotions or your thoughts. You have reclaimed your mind, and that is a triumph that no one can take away. One of the most telling signs that you have defeated a narcissist without even realizing it is the moment you begin to recognize their manipulation attempts instantly, and more importantly, you remain unaffected by them. This is a subtle but profound victory because narcissists thrive on confusion, doubt, and emotional reactivity. Their control depends on keeping you off balance, making you question your reality, your motives, and your feelings. When you no longer fall prey to their tactics, it means you have developed a heightened awareness and an unshakable emotional foundation that they cannot penetrate. Narcissists are master manipulators. Their arsenal includes gaslighting, guilt-tripping, projection, playing the victim, and sowing division. These tactics are designed to blur your sense of truth, to keep you tangled in their web of deceit and control. When you first experience these manipulations, you may feel bewildered and uncertain. You might wonder if you are overreacting, or if you really are at fault. This confusion serves their purpose perfectly. It weakens your confidence and strengthens their power. But once you recognize these behaviors as deliberate manipulation rather than innocent misunderstandings, the game changes entirely. Recognition comes from a deep internal clarity. You develop the ability to see past the surface drama and identify the patterns and strategies the narcissist uses. This clarity often emerges through experience and reflection. You learn what is normal and what is manipulation. Instead of reacting emotionally, you observe with detachment. You become like a spectator rather than a participant in their attempts to provoke or control you. This mental shift is a breakthrough because it means you are no longer caught in their trap. You see it before it closes around you. When you remain unaffected by manipulation, it's a sign your emotional boundaries have grown strong and resilient. Previously, a simple comment or behavior from the narcissist might have sent your emotions spiraling. You might have felt guilt, shame, anger, or self-doubt. But now, when you detect manipulation, you feel calm and steady. You do not absorb their toxicity or let it dictate your mood or decisions. This emotional immunity is a sign you've reclaimed your personal power. It means the narcissist's efforts to destabilize you have failed. This resilience is not about ignoring the narcissist or pretending everything is fine. It's about responding from a place of strength and truth. You might calmly set boundaries, disengage from the conversation, or assert your reality without aggression. By refusing to react as they expect, you strip their manipulation of its effectiveness. Narcissists feed on drama, And when you refuse to play their game, you starve them of the attention and control they crave. Furthermore, recognizing manipulation and remaining unaffected allows you to protect your mental health. The emotional chaos narcissists create can lead to anxiety, depression, and confusion. When you build the skill to spot manipulation early and hold your ground, you shield yourself from these harmful effects. Your mind becomes a sanctuary rather than a battlefield. This ability also empowers you in your daily life beyond the narcissist. You start to trust your instincts more. When something feels off, you don't second-guess yourself. You have learned to differentiate between genuine interactions and manipulative tactics. This confidence builds your overall emotional intelligence and strengthens your relationships with others, especially those who treat you with respect and honesty. Ultimately, this sign is a marker of profound inner growth. It reveals that you have moved beyond being a victim to becoming a master of your own emotional domain. You no longer let the narcissist's twisted narratives shape your reality or your self-image. Instead, you hold firm in your truth and refuse to be pulled into their chaos. In defeating a narcissist without realizing it, this skill is both a shield and a sword. It protects you from future harm and cuts through the fog of confusion they once cast over your life. You've become immune to their influence, and in doing so, you reclaim the freedom to live authentically and peacefully. If you're starting to feel a shift in your chest right now, if you're realizing that maybe, just maybe, you've already taken your power back, pause for a second and honor that. That's not a coincidence. That's clarity waking up inside you. So here's what I want you to do right now. Comment, "I claim myself" below. Not for me, not for the algorithm, but for you. Because when you put it in writing, you're not just thinking it, you're owning it. This message isn't about revenge. It's about release. It's not about them. It's about you finally living without them in your head. And if this resonates so far, share this with someone who's still fighting a war they don't need to be in. They might not know they've already won, too. One of the most significant indicators that you have defeated a narcissist without even realizing it is when your energy shifts completely, from trying to change them to focusing entirely on your own growth. For years, when you were entangled with a narcissist, a large portion of your time, effort, and emotional bandwidth was spent on attempts to fix them, make them see reason, or convince them to treat you better. You might have believed that if you just tried harder, understood more, or adjusted your behavior, you could somehow change the narcissist's toxic patterns. But this exhausting mission is impossible. Narcissists rarely change, because their world revolves around their own self-interest and control. The moment you stop trying to change them, you step into your true power. Shifting your focus from the narcissist to yourself is a profound act of self-respect and liberation. It signals a deep awareness that your energy is valuable and must be invested where it can truly make a difference, inside you. Instead of spinning your wheels trying to fix someone who may never want to change, you begin to pour your attention into your healing, your goals, your passions, and your future. This internal pivot is a clear mark of victory because it shows you have stopped being controlled by false hopes and emotional manipulation. When you focus on your own growth, you reclaim control over your life. Rather than being trapped in the narcissist's narrative and demands, you create your own story. You make decisions based on what serves your well-being, happiness, and success, rather than what will gain their approval or avoid their criticism. This might look like setting boundaries that protect your time and energy, pursuing personal development through learning new skills, or simply nurturing your emotional health through self-care. All of these actions build your confidence and resilience, making you stronger and less vulnerable to manipulation. This shift also means you stop expecting validation or change from the narcissist. You accept that they might never acknowledge their faults or treat you with the respect you deserve. This acceptance is freeing because it releases you from the exhausting cycle of disappointment and frustration. Instead of waiting for someone else to transform, you take responsibility for your own growth. You become the architect of your life, no longer dependent on someone else's behavior to feel whole or successful. Focusing on your growth also opens the door to new opportunities and healthier relationships. When your energy is no longer drained by trying to change a narcissist, you have more time and clarity to invest in people who genuinely care for you and respect your boundaries. You start attracting relationships built on mutual support and authenticity, where your value is recognized and celebrated. This environment nourishes your development even further, creating a positive cycle of growth and empowerment. The process of redirecting your focus inward requires courage and self-awareness. It's easy to get caught in the trap of blaming yourself or obsessing over the narcissist behavior. But choosing to grow means turning your attention away from blame and toward action. You might begin by identifying what you want to achieve, what brings you joy, and what habits or beliefs no longer serve you. Each step forward reinforces your independence and signals that you are no longer a pawn in the narcissist game. This internal shift transforms how you see yourself. You move from being reactive to proactive. Your identity is no longer tied to the narcissist's approval or criticism, but anchored in your own values, talents, and aspirations. This new perspective fuels your motivation and passion because you're no longer drained by emotional battles. You're energized by progress and possibility. Ultimately, when you focus on your own growth instead of trying to change the narcissist, you show that you have won the silent battle. You've stopped feeding their need for control and started feeding your own potential. This is the turning point where healing begins and freedom becomes real. Your life becomes about building, creating, and evolving, not about surviving someone else's toxicity. And that is a victory that resonates far beyond the moment, shaping your future in ways that no narcissist can ever touch. One of the clearest signs that you have defeated a narcissist without even realizing it is the moment you stop explaining, justifying, or defending yourself to them. This may sound like a small detail, but it carries enormous weight. When you are caught in the narcissist's orbit, you likely felt a constant need to clarify your actions, prove your intentions, or defend your feelings, always trying to meet their impossible standards or silence their criticism. You became trapped in a cycle where every word, every choice needed to be accounted for, dissected, and justified. The narcissist's relentless demands for explanation were less about understanding you and more about maintaining control and keeping you off balance. When this compulsion to explain finally falls away, it is a profound sign that their power over you has dissolved. This change begins as an internal shift in how you view yourself and the dynamic you once endured. You realize that the need to defend yourself was never about fairness or honest communication. It was about surviving the narcissist's relentless scrutiny and manipulation. Narcissists often twist conversations to make you feel wrong, unstable, or guilty. Their goal is to destabilize you emotionally so they can maintain dominance. When you stop defending yourself, you effectively refuse to participate in their game. You say, without words, that you no longer accept their rules or their version of reality. Stopping the cycle of explanation and justification is a signal that you have gained clarity about your own truth and boundaries. You understand that your feelings, decisions, and actions are valid without needing their approval or validation. You recognize that no amount of explanation will satisfy a narcissist's insatiable need to control or criticize. So, instead of trying to explain yourself endlessly, you choose silence, detachment, or simply walking away. This choice is a declaration of independence and self-respect. It means you have stopped exhausting your energy trying to convince someone who is unwilling or incapable of empathy or fairness. This change also reflects emotional strength. It requires courage to break free from the urge to defend yourself, especially when you have been conditioned to doubt your own perceptions. Narcissists excel at creating confusion and self-blame, which can make you feel like you owe them explanations. But when you finally stop, it means you trust your own judgment and no longer allow their distortions to cloud your self-image. You know that defending yourself to a narcissist is often futile because their goal is not mutual understanding, but domination. Moreover, by ceasing to justify yourself, you create space for healthier interactions. In relationships free from narcissistic control, communication is based on respect and mutual trust, not interrogation or judgment. When you stop defending yourself to toxic people, you also learn to recognize when it's appropriate to invest your energy in explaining and when it's better to protect yourself. This discernment is key to maintaining emotional balance and building strong boundaries. This shift can sometimes feel uncomfortable at first. The instinct to explain or justify is deeply ingrained because it once seemed necessary for survival or peace. Letting go of that habit means trusting that you don't owe toxic people an explanation. It's about realizing your worth is not contingent on others' approval or understanding. It also means embracing the power of silence and self-assurance. You learn that sometimes saying nothing speaks louder than 1,000 words. The moment you no longer feel compelled to defend yourself to a narcissist is a moment of liberation. You have effectively reclaimed your voice, not by arguing or fighting, but by refusing to be drawn into their manipulative drama. This is a victory that doesn't look dramatic, but feels like a deep exhale. It's a shift from being controlled to being in control, from being reactive to being centered. In essence, when you stop explaining, justifying, or defending yourself to a narcissist, you have crossed a threshold. You have moved from a place of vulnerability and confusion into a place of strength and clarity. This quiet yet powerful shift marks the end of their emotional hold on you. It signals that you've finally learned to honor your own truth above the narcissist's distortions. This is a sign not just of survival, but of genuine victory. One of the most undeniable signs that you have defeated a narcissist without even realizing it is when you begin to attract healthier relationships and naturally set firm boundaries. This change is more than just a shift in who you allow into your life. It reflects a fundamental transformation in how you see yourself, how you value your time and energy, and how you protect your emotional well-being. For a long time, the narcissist may have clouded your ability to recognize what healthy connections look like, or even to believe you deserved them. When this fog lifts, you begin to gravitate toward people who uplift, support, and respect you, instead of those who drain and manipulate. This is a clear sign that you have reclaimed your personal power and self-worth. At first, the cycle with a narcissist often includes relationships that are confusing and exhausting. Narcissists isolate you from supportive people or surround you with toxic dynamics that mimic their own manipulative patterns. You may have found yourself repeatedly drawn to unhealthy relationships because the lines between care, control, and manipulation were blurred. But the moment you start attracting healthier relationships, it's a sign you have shifted your internal landscape. Your energy no longer resonates with dysfunction and toxicity, but with authenticity and respect. This change happens because the vibration you put out, the way you see yourself, and the standards you hold starts to align with the quality of people who enter your life. Setting firm boundaries is an essential part of this transformation. Boundaries are the invisible lines that protect your emotional space, time, and values. With a narcissist, boundaries are often violated, ignored, or twisted to serve their needs. When you start setting firm boundaries, you send a powerful message, not only to others, but to yourself, that you value your well-being and will no longer tolerate abuse or disrespect. This act of boundary setting is both a shield and a declaration of self-respect. It requires you to be clear, consistent, and sometimes uncomfortable, but it's necessary for maintaining your newfound peace and freedom. Healthy relationships and boundaries go hand in hand. When you establish your limits clearly, you create an environment where trust and mutual respect can flourish. You also become less vulnerable to manipulation because you have defined what is acceptable and what is not. This clarity deters narcissists and toxic people because they thrive in blurred lines and emotional confusion. Your boundaries make it difficult for them to penetrate your life or exploit your kindness. The process of attracting healthier relationships often starts with a change in how you treat yourself. You begin to see yourself as deserving of love, respect, and kindness. You no longer settle for less because you have experienced the cost of toxic relationships firsthand. This internal shift changes your choices, the people you spend time with, the conversations you engage in, and the ways you allow others to treat you. You become more selective, prioritizing those who show genuine care and respect. Your boundaries. This transformation also extends beyond romantic relationships. It impacts friendships, family dynamics, and professional connections. As you grow stronger and more confident, you inspire others to treat you better and reflect your new standards. This positive feedback loop further reinforces your growth and your ability to maintain healthy relationships. You realize that your circle is not about quantity, but about quality, about those who lift you higher instead of pulling you down. Attracting healthier relationships and setting firm boundaries require ongoing commitment. Sometimes old patterns or doubts may try to pull you back into unhealthy dynamics, but each time you reaffirm your boundaries, you strengthen your resilience. You learn to trust your intuition, recognize red flags early, and take swift action to protect yourself. This is a skill born out of experience and growth, and it signals that you have truly moved beyond the narcissist influence. In essence, when your life fills with healthier connections and your boundaries stand firm, you have won a silent but powerful victory. You have rebuilt your world on your terms, one of respect, authenticity, and genuine care. This is not just a sign of healing, it is a sign of triumph. You have broken free from the narcissist's shadow and stepped into the light of your own strength and self-worth. This transformation creates a foundation for a future where you no longer survive, but thrive. As you reflect on these signs, your peace of mind restored, your immunity to manipulation, the shift from trying to change them to focusing on yourself, no longer defending your truth, and the healthy relationships and boundaries you now embrace, you begin to see a pattern. These aren't just coincidences or small victories. They are the quiet, undeniable proof that you have won the battle against a narcissist without even realizing it. The fight was never about changing them. It was about transforming yourself, reclaiming your power, and stepping into your true worth. This victory is not marked by loud confrontations or dramatic finales. It is found in the calm strength of your mind, the clarity of your boundaries, and the joy of your growth. It's the freedom to live authentically, without fear or apology. You've outlasted the storm, and in doing so, you've built a life that no narcissist can shake. Remember, true defeat of such toxic influence doesn't come from fighting on their battlefield. It comes from rising above, healing within, and shining so brightly that their shadows fade away. So honor your journey, trust your progress, and keep moving forward. The signs are there, quietly but powerfully, showing that you are no longer their victim. You are your own champion.